It's been a crazy week with the Switch 2 finally being announced after all the leaks and the whole CES Mockup thing. And speaking of that, a certain company from CES apparently felt the wrath of Nintendo's lawyers pretty directly. It's Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and I'm back to talk about the gaming news. Now, if you missed it, Nintendo officially revealed the Nintendo Switch 2 this week, and I already covered it in a separate video, which will be linked above if you want to check that out. But before the official announcement, there were a bunch of rumors and leaks which kind of peaked at CES when accessory company Genki bought a Switch 2 mock-up there. I covered the story in last week's video, but one thing that wasn't explained at the time was why Genki originally said that the mock-up was based on hardware they've seen, and then later changed it to, oh, it was based off of the leaks that were already out there. And the answer is simply Nintendo's thugs. So it's being reported by a journalist named Julian Tellock that Nintendo's lawyers went to Genki's booth at CES due to them having the mock-up of the Switch 2, but nothing came of it. Tellock claims to have spoken to someone from Genki, and they said that basically they never signed an NDA with Nintendo and that they were not in violation of anything. Now, with the context of this information, when Nintendo's lawyers possibly come into their booth at CES, it makes sense why their story changed. Like, obviously they kept the mock-up the whole time at CES. I didn't hear it was taken down or anything. But they just said it was based on leaks, probably because those leaks were out there. And if they had seen some hardware they weren't supposed to, then maybe Nintendo would have rights to sue them or something like that. So it makes sense now why they changed their story if Nintendo's thugs, I mean lawyers, did come to visit the booth. Obviously, with the Switch 2 being officially announced, Nintendo probably won't come after them. But yeah, apparently Genki got the shakedown from Nintendo's thugs. I'm sorry, lawyers. Just like people have been trying to shake down Microsoft to find out what exclusives they'll be bringing to other systems, including the Switch 2. So early last year, there was a rumor that Microsoft was going to bring other games, including Halo, to PS5. This ended up being somewhat true as Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, and Grounded made their way to other consoles, basically PS5 and Switch. And of course, Indiana Jones is also confirmed to be coming to PS5 sometime this year. So obviously parts of the rumor ended up being true, but the Halo thing hadn't really panned out. Well, that part of the rumor has resurfaced, as it's now rumored that Halo Master Chief Collection will be making its way to PS5 and Switch 2 this year. So the rumor is coming from Nate the Hate, and apparently he leaked that Nintendo was going to reveal the Switch 2 on January 16th. So that at least makes it worth considering what he's saying. But yeah, he's claiming that Master Chief Collection will be headed to PS5 this year along with the Switch 2. I mean, if they're going to do a Halo game, this one is kind of low stakes just because it's a little bit older now, and it's a way for them to test the waters to see if people want more Halo games on other consoles. And also, Phil Spencer essentially said last year that there's nothing off the table as far as games going cross-platform. So it's very possible we could see Master Chief board a new spaceship or a spaceship looking console. But we're not done talking about Microsoft just yet, because they're kicking off the first official 2025 layoffs. Of course, we can't go too long without some kind of layoffs, and Microsoft was one of the companies that had huge layoffs last year from their gaming division, but this time it's from several divisions in Microsoft, including gaming. So Business Insider is reporting that Microsoft has cut jobs from their security, experience and devices, sales, and of course, gaming divisions. Microsoft confirmed the layoffs but didn't give specific numbers and claimed that it was a small number of people. Now, who actually knows what small number means to Microsoft, considering last January they cut 1,900 jobs from their gaming division? Small could be in the hundreds, but it's a rough time to be let go, especially right after the holidays, so I hope the people affected are getting support from Microsoft up until they can find new positions. But while Microsoft announced layoffs, Sony, they could also be following suit. So a few years ago, Sony decided to make a big push into live service games because they were popping in the streets. But by the time those games started to come out, well, it wasn't popping in the streets as hard anymore. And we saw the first major casualty of this late last year with the release and then subsequent shutdown after 2 weeks of Concord. Well, now Sony has decided to cancel 2 more live service games that were in development. So Sony Studios, Bluepoint, and Ben were both working on live service games, which have now been canceled. It was never officially revealed what the games were, but it's rumored that Bluepoint was working on a live service game within the God of War universe, and Ben was working on a new IP that was going to build upon the open world systems of Days Gone and include a live service multiplayer, according to the Eurogamer article. For now, neither studio has been affected, but given Sony's recent track record in the gaming industry in general, I would expect both studios to be hit with layoffs as a result of these games being canceled. Alright, so we somehow find ourselves again pivoting from bad news to somehow talking about Nintendo, because while they did reveal the Switch 2, there are still several questions about it, and analysts are looking to try to answer those questions, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And a fun story. So there were several things that Nintendo Switch 2 trailer didn't really address, like for example, the price. But we should get more information about it in April. But of course, analysts are out there, well, they're analyzing things like the market conditions and the price of components to predict where the Switch 2 may land price-wise. So IGN spoke to several analysts and they pretty much all said the same thing. It's probably going to be $400. Now, some of them are speculating that it could go up to $500 depending on if there are supply constraints or not, but based on current conditions, they believe it will be $400. And that makes sense since the regular Switch launched at $300, the OLED launched at $350, and while the Switch 2 isn't OLED, it is bigger and the system is going to be more powerful. So I feel like if they charge $400, that actually makes sense. Now, another thing about the Switch 2 we obviously don't know is the release date. The trailer just said 2025, and Nintendo is running a series of hands-on events after the April Direct. Well, considering these events are running in various countries from April till June, it's not likely that the system is going to release before then since these are hands-on events. It would only make sense to do them if the system wasn't out already. So we're at least looking at the second half of the year for the system to actually be released. Now I suspect, or at least I hope, that they'll give the official date in April when they have the Direct, since they're going to have these hands-on events shortly after. But of course, the release date is the first part of the battle. How do analysts think that it'll do against the original Switch sales-wise? Well, most of them are predicting that it will not outsell the Switch, but it'll still do well, with some pointing out that if they have a really strong game library, it could potentially outsell the original Switch, even if the price is above $400. Now personally, I don't think it's going to outsell the Switch just because the concept isn't new anymore and a lot of people have Switches now, so they're probably going to wait until a game they really want comes out to even upgrade. When the first Switch came out, not many people had the Wii U, and the Wii was getting up there at that point. But like I said, it's a different landscape now, so we'll see how well it does. Now the last thing I want to talk about is a rumor that actually came out during the CES mess last week, but I didn't cover it because I was like, why would Nintendo add this functionality? But it's rumored that the Joy-Cons may also function as a mouse, as in you can lay them down and glide them across surfaces. Like I said, I didn't pay much attention to it last week and ultimately cut it, but it came up again this week because the trailer for the Switch 2 shows the new Joy-Cons gliding across the ground, kind of like a mouse. It could be one of those weird things that they add to make it stand out, kind of like 3D Rumble with the Switch. Either way, I'm excited to see what Nintendo reveals in April, and I'm hoping these rumors finally calm down because I'm getting tired of talking about it, to be honest. So unless something major comes out between now and the Direct, I probably won't even bother to cover it. But let me know what you think down in the comments about today's stories. What do you think the Switch 2 will land at price-wise? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure, tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button to let me know if I drop the video or live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time.